I mean, hello. Hello, everybody. Uh, Hope you're having a wonderful evening. This is the debut episode of Retro Reboot, the newest show here on GDQ Hotfix. My name is Zoe Familian. I will be your host. I'm joined tonight by Stick Runners. First up, we're going to have the terrific Tracy running Kirby's Adventure 100%. And we have Swordsman Kirby on comms. But before we get into that, I do have a few brief announcements. Tomorrow is the Showrunner Showcase at 3 p.m. Eastern with Liz Starr, Author Blues, and Richard showcasing some of the runs that the showrunners for Hotfix do themselves. We are actually speedrunners ourselves. Go figure. And then on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern is Tree Fort. It's going to be a great show. Make sure you tune in for that one. Monday is Hollow Knight on the Community Spotlight. Many categories that are going to be run there. Thursday is the first step, where Hobbs and Keys will be racing Cat Quest 2. And a quick reminder, HDQ is fast approaching. We are under the 1 month mark. So check out gamesdonequick.com/schedule for the schedule. And if you're not going to be attending HDQ 2020, HDQ 2020 offsite volunteer submissions start today and go through the 15th. It may not be up right now, but they should be up later tonight. So I hope everyone is super duper excited. So, Swordsman Kirby, as our resident commentator for this run, what should we be expecting?
You should be expecting a lot of clever use of abilities, a little bit of glitching, and a lot of lag, actually.
Sounds like a typical NES game to me.
Yeah, Kirby's Adventure was a relatively late NES game. I think it was released in the US in like 1993. And it was very, very ambitious, and as a result, very, very lag.
Yeah, that's as late NES games tend to be. I think we are just about ready to get underway. Tracy, if you can give us a countdown whenever you're ready to start, we can get this thing underway.
Okay. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and reset first, just for some RNG manipulation, and then I'll count down before I suck my file. So, reset. And 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Good luck.
Alright, good. So I mostly got this down, right? Okay. I think I'm gonna go ahead and try getting it again. So, aside from missing the mix, I did that movement exactly as I had done, or that I would get Tornado as soon as possible. And that is unfortunate. But,
yeah, so the idea behind mixes, this was the first Kirby game that introduced copy abilities, and there is a special feature that's present in most of the Kirby games with copy abilities, where if you inhale 2 enemies that give you an ability, it starts this mix wheel. And if you have good timing, you can stop it on pretty much whatever ability you want. In this case, Tornado has great horizontal movement throughout this game, so that's the one that we mixed for at the very, very beginning.
Tornado, most their runs will centralize around 1 power if it is really fast or strong, just basically all around useful, and that is Tornado in this game. It goes.
Both a good attacking ability and movement ability for sure.
The only thing it isn't good for movement-wise is going like straight up. So there are other powers that will be used, but for the most part, it is a lot of Tornado. And I had dropped my beat input there, which does happen sometimes.
Do you want to explain like what exactly this category is?
So this is going to be 100% no major glitches. So I'm It's most of the routing for the first two worlds is exactly the same. There are no switches around, but I'm going to be getting switches that unlock more content in the overworld hub, and basically all of that adds up to 100%. So this category has quite a bit more content, around 5 minutes more than any percent emerging glitches, and it has a bit more variety in powers due to some of them being used for getting to said switches.
So we say no major glitches because it bans the use of two very game-breaking glitches. As we're going to see later on, UFO is an incredibly powerful ability, and there's a glitch that allows you to keep it pretty much indefinitely, and then there's also a credits warp type glitch. As Tracy was explaining, 100% you hit all the switches, but they unlock different areas, but you don't actually need to visit any of those areas.
Yeah, when I get to UFO, you'll see it technically is like the best power in the game, but under normal means you can't just keep it. So we make do with the rest of the powers in the game.
So a little bit about the way that Tornado works. It lasts for a fixed duration, and besides controlling left and right, you control whether or not it sinks or falls based on like if you're releasing or holding B respectively.
Alright, so at the end of World 1 here, not too many problems. We're going to fight Wispy Woods, who is returning from the first Kirby game.
Yeah, this is just
Yeah,
literally just
Tornado is really good. No problem here. Also, something really nice about this game, unlike the remake, between every world your health gets refilled, which is very handy.
Yeah, so it's of people that I've talked to, it's actually not super well known that Nightmare in Dreamland was a remake of Kirby's Adventure. So Nightmare in Dreamland, the game that you're going to see later on, was the first Kirby GBA game, and it was a remake of this one with different physics engine and much less lag.
Despite that, though, I don't know. I personally prefer this one. I think the physics alone make it much more enjoyable, personally, but there's nothing wrong with the other game. They're both really cool, as you're gonna see.
Yeah, I don't think I actually knew that this was that Nightmare in Dreamland was a remake of this myself until I started kind of researching this show and this idea and figuring out what I want to do for the first episode. And I saw that and was like, I loved Nightmare in Dreamland when I was younger. Like, how did I not know about Kirby's Adventure? And that's part of the reason why we're here.
To be fair, the names are not very similar at all. It's kind of clever that they use Nightmare in Dreamland. Like, if you know a little bit more about the game, it makes sense, but it clearly doesn't just say Kirby's Adventure or something.
Kirby's Adventure Ultra.
The Japanese names for both games, though, I think they're similar or something like that. So at least they got it right there.
Alright, so what's coming up is a use of Out of Bounds, so Tracy got it first try. It's a very weird one where if you run over a one-tile gap and you press down at just the right time, you'll just clip out of bounds. But the weird part about it is that you need to have an ability that doesn't change your appearance. So in this case, Tornado is one which Kirby stays pretty much the same. If you're carrying an ability like Sword, for example, where Kirby's holding out a sword at all times, the clip actually won't work.
It has something to do with like shifting his hitbox slightly, right? It's a little odd.
I don't know if anyone's like actually nailed down the real reason for it, but that sounds plausible.
Well, it works. That's all that matters.
Yeah. So I believe that was discovered in like 2012 or so. So when people were first running this game, they used that glitch that allowed you to keep UFO indefinitely. And later on, people wanted to like not do that because it's not really much of a platformer if you're just like in UFO form the whole time. So people started running 80% glitchless. But when that clip was discovered, people thought it was cool. So now this category is now known as 80% no major glitches after a couple name changes.
It seems like I'm soaring through Ice Cream Island just fine. This is one of my favorite levels in this world. There's one of the rooms coming up. It has a ton of enemies in it, so it lags a lot, and getting through it properly involves taking out as many enemies as smartly as possible, so I always enjoy it personally.
Yeah, the game is suggesting that you take abilities like wheel or high jump, but we're just going to do tornado the
So
whole
yeah,
way.
this one is loaded with enemies, so I'm just going to try to hit all of them. And yeah, the only one I can't get is that Blade Knight, but it seemed to have done good.
Yeah, so we're going to skip the high jump enemy right here. One thing to know about tornado and deciding whether or not to kill enemies, since this game lags a lot, you want to kill enemies to reduce lag because there's fewer objects on screen, but at the same time, running into an enemy causes Kirby to sort of stop in place for a little bit. So it's trying to optimize between those two different things.
Yeah, hitting too many enemies will slow you down more. But alright, onto Paint Roller here.
Oh yeah, I just learned about that tornado strat going into the boss room yesterday.
Yeah. Oh no. Just messed up the last hit, but otherwise that was really nice. The last hit feels a little finicky, but it's a lot better than the way I used to do it.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of optimization involving how to grab the star rod. Once you grab it, you lose control of Kirby. And if Kirby's not in the center of the screen, he'll walk towards the center really, really slowly. So you want to land right in the...
And this is our first level with the switch. I hope I won't end up forgetting any switches. That would be a little lame. I tend to rely on my splits to tell me so, but I think I may have it down.
Well, I'll try to remind you if anything happens.
I know for sure World 6 has them in every level and whatnot.
Yeah,
And
so
I remember
right
there's
Oh, go ahead.
sorry. I remember there's 2 in this one, 2 and 7, like 3 and 4 and 5, I think. Something like that.
There's 4 and 5.
Oh, there's
and
4
then
and 5.
6 and
Right.
6. So the number of switches sort of grows as you get further and further into the game. World 6, as we're talking about, we're in World 3 now, but World 6 has a switch in every single...
So finally getting rid of Tornado and getting UFO. Fortunately, that mix is just automatic, so
Yeah.
see.
The mix wheel itself doesn't change, and the relative position is determined by exactly like which enemies you inhale. So it's like the first or like second enemy that you inhale that determines the starting spot. In this case, if we inhale 2 stone enemies, and just let the mix wheel run out by itself, it will always land on UFO. And as you can see, and as you can see, Tracy no longer has UFO, so every time you exit a level, it disappears because it's so powerful.
Oh my gosh, what? Okay, that was in a state. That was also one of the first mini bosses who is actually invulnerable to Tornado, which is part of why UFO is grabbed, because Bugsy will grab you no matter what. Even if Tornado is invincible, he just grabs you. He doesn't care.
And unfortunately, in some of the earlier Kirby games, every single hit you take, you lose your ability. And that mechanic carries over to Knightmare and Dreamland, and as a result, sort of the GBA and DS handhelds also have that one-hit mechanic as well.
So coming up soon, there are, if you're familiar with this run, there are some newer additions that have been implemented by some runners lately. I'm going to go for a more advanced mix in the next level to try to get Tornado. It is one of the hardest ones to get in the game though, so I won't be too surprised if I missed it, but it'll be pretty hype, I'd say, if I do get it.
Yeah, the window for hitting the correct ability on a mixed wheel is 4 frames. Which sounds like a lot, but with that mixed wheel scrolling by really fast, you don't really get too great of a visual cue.
I was one off. Oh well, it's okay. I know just exactly how to... It's only about 20 seconds slower, which sounds like a lot, but it's no big deal. Roughly, like, it's so weird getting it, because, like, alright, if you use Tornado to finish the world, it's really fast until you get to the boss, then it's, like, really slow, because, like, it sucks for killing the bosses in this world.
So, neat little strat with bonkers.
Cool.
Oh.
I get him without he jumps. Very unfortunate. Like, sometimes he'll jump, sometimes he won't. I should have adjusted a little better, but you know what? We're fine.
Yeah, without abilities, you have to wait for enemies to do certain attacks so you can inhale them and spit it back at them. What Tracy was trying to do is try to get a double star, which does more damage than normal stuff that you inhale, by combining what Bonkers drops and the ability star. So this is the, I guess, older strat, where you carry hammer throughout the rest of the world.
Right, this screen right here, sometimes the enemies will fall, and okay, it seems like I'm fine. Sometimes they'll fall in a much more unfavorable position, and when using hammer, they would like knock it out of me, but I was okay. Usually I'm a little prepared for it, but I get a little anxious now and then. But alright, grabbing the second switch here.
Yeah, right now the switches we've seen, you can sort of access them at any time, but later on we'll see switches that require certain abilities to get to. So that changes how the routing is done compared to, for example, in any percent.
Alright. So yeah, the biggest thing about having hammer right now, like I said, it's really good on this boss. It only takes 3 hits on both of them, but Tornado would have taken 5 each, which is really lame, because it gives them time to move around, so I prefer this anyway.
Hey, you guessed right.
I never guess, I always go to the right. But alright, we're good. Okay. In this level, we also have a switch to grab.
Oh yeah, so one of the great things about just powerless Kirby movement is that sliding, you do not decelerate in air. So if you slide right at the edge of the ledge, you maintain that sliding speed all the way until you hit the ground. And what you can do is that you can actually sort of bunny hop to preserve that speed as long as possible.
Honestly, that is one of my favorite things about this game. Kirby, for some reason, like when you slide, he just has like some kind of sense of speed or movement with it. It's like he definitely keeps all of his speed. Likewise, when there are slopes, trying to go up them slows him down a lot. Going down them though, he slides like crazy and picks up more speed.
Okay, so know about these goal games. Every single frame, different frame, like 1/60th of a second roughly speaking, gives you a different animation for that. The worst thing that can happen is Kirby doing a very slow ledge grab onto level 6. And that's just like the third earliest frame. So it's sort of like a 2-frame window to hit level 7 as quickly as possible. And doing a ledge grab on level 6 for the goal game loses like a second. Doesn't really sound like that much, but it really does add up over the course of the run.
Alright, I was a little worried about going on the top path and potentially hitting a spike, but it's no problem. Oh my gosh, please. Going on the top path in the previous screen is like a bit of a newer thing. Going on the bottom path, it gets a little laggy. Okay, and there should be a switch in this level too. I did this a little rough, but it's fine. This room is a bit difficult to do, but it's fine.
Trying to control the tornado into that one tile gap is pretty tricky.
Okay, something else that is a little new. Going to try the mix for wheel at this time here, just because at the beginning wheel is faster than tornado. For once. Okay, very nice.
Nice. This is the only use of wheel in the entire run.
Which, a little bit of a spoiler, in contrast to the run for the remake, wheel is probably the most usability there. So it's a little ironic. It's kind of swapped, and in fact, I think at an optimal level, in Knightmare and Dreamland, Tornado isn't even used at all. So, it's just really interesting how the powers have changed so much between the two. Alright. Alright, well, that happens.
Yeah, unfortunately, inhaling those two enemies is quite a tight window. But the idea there was to mix for UFO to take care of this mini-boss. But pretty quick spark. It's very easy to get the timing wrong for that, and then just get grabbed by the turtle.
Yeah, getting the UFO mix there is one of the most important ones to get, but in my opinion, I think literally just trying to get both enemies together is the biggest struggle on that.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that inhaling the two enemies is harder than the mix itself. Alright, another kind of mix that you can do is that doesn't really require much timing, but if you just hold down like the stop mix wheel button right when you inhale it, it'll automatically stop at the first one. So in this case, 2 sword enemies gives you burning. About these arenas, most enemies in the game die in one hit, but for these guys, the so-called Meta Knights, I think they're named later.
Yeah.
They take multiple hits for certain abilities. So a lot of the times, if you can, it's best to just go powerless and inhale and spit, because that'll actually do much better damage.
Alright, that went very well, but if you ask me otherwise, I think the room I was just in is probably one of the very worst in the game, because all of those enemies that drop down, they both drop down randomly and where they are, but also when they want to. So I really hate it personally. It can go pretty bad for me. But no problem.
Alright. Here we're going to see another instance of the one tile gap crouch clip. Ooh, first try. That one's pretty hard because you actually need to get into your dash animation in one gap, in like one tile, which is quite a tight.
Yeah, I have like no room at all to run there, but I do it anyway.
So this room is supposed to use this ability called Light. given by the ghost enemy called Cool Spook later on in the room, but if you know where the door is already, then it's not really very hidden. Ah, yeah. That spit into the ledge clip or whatever. I don't know. I don't think it has a name.
I was surprised that actually about that. I saw it for the first time like a few days ago.
Yeah, so if you run off a 2-tile gap, normally Kirby won't actually make it to the other platform, but for some reason if you spit, it somehow gives Kirby a little bit extra height to make that left. Right, so the beginning of this fight is just like a climb upwards. So high jump in this game, you can only use it from the ground, and you can cancel it. Most of these platforms are at essentially Kirby's maximum high jump distance, but some of them are a little bit closer.
Honestly, on that climb too, I'm conflicted. It is best to keep in a straight line, but then I also don't really want to hit, because like that would contradict with like building lag for no reason on hitting them.
Yeah.
So
weird thing is that it somehow lags more, or for whatever reason it's slower if you move horizontally while doing high.
Okay. We are further yard. Alright, that's no problem. Okay. I always fear messing up that mix. It's like the very second one. And it's I don't know. It's like you can't hold it, but then you don't want to like let it run for too long at all. So
Plus,
it feels tricky to me.
Earlier on, the very first tornado mix in the game is the third ability, so trying to adjust the timing to be like ever so slightly earlier is very annoying.
Yeah, there's like, especially in this category, there's like so many mixes that I need to try to go for. This one's 3 ticks, this one's 4, this one's 5. It's like, oh my gosh, they're almost the same, but not really. Alright. Gonna try to go for this little boost into the water here. Alright, no problem.
Yeah, very cool idea where you just preserve your tornado speed underwater for a while.
Yeah, that's honestly one of my favorite things too, like how momentum works in this game. If you're using tornado or UFO and like you run into a spike, Kirby will like he'll drop the but he'll go flying with the speed he still had. It's like so smacking into the water like that and keeping the speed reminds me of the same. Alright, that's no problem, I guess. I always fear when I press it too late, I don't want to press it at the bottom and then shoot all the way up to the top. I have done that very rarely, like, oh my gosh.
Yes, this game is being run on original hardware.
Yeah. Also something I don't know if it was noted, but I'm playing on the Japanese version. There's no real reason to. It's the same as the US version. It only matters in a miscellaneous category, so.
Yeah, there's a slight difference in the way that bosses are implemented, but for the purpose of a category like this, it does not matter whatsoever. Are you playing on... I actually don't know. Are you playing on NES or a Famicom?
I'm actually on a Famicom.
Gotcha.
The AV Famicom to be specific, but yeah. Okay. This level personally worries me, but you know what? I have a good feeling about it. It's mostly the room after the arena with ball. I have the hardest time going into ball there. I don't know why. It's like, I swear, like, okay, so you slide off the ledge and then use it, but half the times I slide off, it doesn't accept my B input. I don't know if that's my fault or what, but we'll see. It'll probably go well.
Yeah, just a note about these arenas. They sort of come in lines where you have to defeat one enemy for another one to show up, but it's not just like one big line. It's several distinct tracks. So
Okay.
that's why the order for it sometimes seems kind of weird on how we defeat them.
Okay, well, that happened. But no big deal.
Ball is definitely one of those. Like this part worries me as well, but ball is another one of those weird momentum preservation kind of tricks. And that particular slide into ball is pretty precise.
Yeah. Like, sometimes I'll get it at a different speed, and then that also changes when I should change out of ball and drop down. So,
unfortunately, Tracy has to float down slowly.
yeah, if I had ball, that would have been a lot better. But now, a newer addition here, I'm going to try to mix for UFO in the secret room here. Or not, it's not really secret, but it's... Okay, good. Oh my gosh. Alright, well, I was one off. I failed it once. I'm not going to go for it again. I'm just going to do it the normal way. But that was very close. So this is the way it's supposed to be done otherwise. But if I got UFO, it would have been nice. I could have used laser to burn the rope and then beam to break the blocks. And then it would have made the rest of the level a bit faster to go through. I guess I'm going to wait on you. Oh my gosh, please.
Coming up, we're about to see the second type of out of bounds that's going to be used in this run. So you're seeing that corner clipping one. I think there's like 5 or 6 different ways of going out of bounds, but for most purposes, there's only 2 that we use in runs. So this is sometimes called the acute angle clip, where if you jump into like a sort of triangular shaped block, you can just clip straight through it. And that's literally it. One thing to know about these out of bounds things is that it's actually possible to get stuck. So there will be random inbounds tiles in the middle of a wall, for example, that you can get stuck in.
Yeah, if I accidentally floated up too high, I would have been above collision, and I would have been stuck between 2 walls. It wouldn't have been very cool.
Unfortunately, since we're beating all these levels for the first time, we won't be able to exit out of it.
Oh my gosh.
Except
Please.
by reset.
Okay, there we go. As long as I get hammer. I have a different setup for getting it normally, but sometimes I fail it, so I figured I'd be safe and get it before I, like, don't have the chance to get it and have to restart the level. I'd rather not do that.
So that's another first ability mix. The ones where you can buffer like the... I want to say that was actually an intentional design choice, specifically for this level.
Because you can only break through these with hammer. Or, the first block you can only break with hammer. But alright, so thus far I don't think I've missed any switches.
Yeah, it looks fine to me so far.
Okay. Right, it makes sense. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Like, oh no, there was a hidden switch I totally forgot about.
Yeah, so you're supposed to get hammer from this, and the only way to get a relatively special ability like hammer is to defeat a bonkers mini boss. So if you didn't have the mixes, that's how you would have to. So Heavy Mole will randomly shoot its arms out.
That was very nice.
Oh, nice. Luckily, Tracy didn't get poked at.
I made sure to practice that because hammer has the tiniest box in existence. It's a very powerful ability, but the hitbox is so tiny. It's like, all right.
You're gonna see Tracy swing the hammer underwater, and for whatever reason, that actually gives you a little bit of a speed boost.
All right. And that aside, we are here in World 6, where every level has a switch. So make sure I'm smart about getting them all, because a lot of these are really tricky. And honestly, in most cases, I say this is my least favorite level, mostly because of this room and the next one. Like, these rooms are designed to be the worst ever. Like, there's just too much going on. I almost got hit. Well, glad I didn't. Okay. Thankfully, this room is here with stone, because that is just what I need. I feel like that's also intentional, like, with how they made it easy to mix for hammer and 5-6, hitting stone there. Very clear choice for getting to this. Although, you could also mix those Sparkies. I think it's an auto mix to get hammer off of them, but trying to get them together is, like, very terrible.
Yeah, just a very, very small note about these switch rooms. There's like essentially like a little cutscene that plays after you hit each of them. And when it cuts back to Kirby, it actually like resets the room except Kirby's in the same position. So if you're like in the middle of spitting something out, it would actually return you back to your normal state. And it's actually used in a couple places, a couple of these switch rooms.
Alright, so I only very briefly had to turn it out here. Gonna drop it shortly after.
Yeah, luckily these blocks that you're supposed to be breaking with strong abilities can also be broken with some less intuitive ones, like Wheel, for example. And in this case, what Tracy's going to be doing is a double stuck.
Yeah. Normally, you would just want to beat Bonkers and take his hammer to smack that, but instead, you can just go ahead and do that instead. Oh my gosh.
Okay. I also think that this is an intentional design decision.
Okay. Aside from having a little bit of a rough time grabbing him, that went just fine. Yeah, it's weird. So, normally, you cannot use fire underwater, like, at all, but since when you take the ability for the first time, it always gives an animation to it. Some of them are actually active hitboxes on those animations, so it just ignores the fact that you press it anyway. Which is, I don't know how intentional that is, but otherwise I would have had to have gotten laser from the other room to hit that fuse.
Well, I don't know, I'm convinced that that was an intentional choice.
I do suppose that's true, like, it's literally in the same room as the fuse is, so...
Yeah, like, what were the chances that the one of, like, 20 abilities happens to be the one that can light the fuse?
So it must be a struggle to light it in the remake. Alright, I've come back here to get burning, because I will be using that for something very important here.
Yeah, it's a very, very long backtrack, but it does make up time over the next 3 levels. Alright, another clip here. This one's very easy to go back in bounds, so what we're going to do is use Fireball to
Hey.
So go through those thin chambers. It's very, very easy to clip back and...
I am very happy it didn't happen.
Yeah, so... In the Japanese version, it's called burning, which is what it is for like all future games. But in the US version of Kirby's Adventure, it's called Fireball.
That actually confused me for a bit. I was like, wait, why is this ability's name change a lot? And I realized, oh, it's only in the US version of this. Alright, no problems here. Oops. Alright.
So conveniently, burning is useful for 6-4, 6-5, and 6-6. So it was like a 15-second or so backtrack in 6-3 to get that burning enemy. And by the end of 6-5, it's actually already comes out even.
Okay, I'm very glad he didn't jump into me. Sometimes that enemy does something a bit different. Alright, no problem. If you do that a little too early, it's very easy to get the, it's very easy to, one, get burning knocked out of you, and then two, miss getting into the cannon after that.
Yeah, so for the goal game, you actually do want to hit it as early as possible. So even though it says push A, that's actually what we're...
Yeah. I made sure to push A. I did exactly what the game said. And ouch. Thanks, Sparky. Alright, please give me back burning. I'm probably gonna lose it.
Oh, man.
Oh, never mind.
Lag.
Yeah, this... Jeez, no. No, game, please, stop. Alright, thank goodness. There was both too much lag from one, Sparky's ability, and then, enemies. Calm down, please.
So here you can see that room reset. Originally Tracy was in the middle of the fireball animation, but then when it cuts back, it was just regular Kirby, so you can just run into it.
No, I got them backwards. Alright, that is a newer thing as well, trying to get Tornado here to finish this level. Oh my gosh, I hate these UFOs so much. I'm just gonna try to stick with UFO, if I can. They might not let me out of here alive.
Yeah, this is unfortunately very, very random. And unlike most enemies in the game, once the UFO enemy's been defeated, it doesn't respawn until you reset the game.
Yeah. So the UFOs love the troll at times. And then it's like, great, you missed your chance on getting one of us, and now we're not gonna even be here anymore.
As you can see, UFO has pretty good horizontal movement.
It's actually been so long since I've done this, because you don't do this anymore when you keep Tornado in 80%, so I had to actually practice this arena with UFO again, but it's fairly easy, I'd say. Also, I am going to reset here just in case Meta Knight decides to be awful. Even though I have 5 health, I'm going to go on with 6. Because Meta Knight randomly blocks. That was not very smart of me. Please stop. Okay, he seems like he's mostly going to be fine right now, though. Sometimes when he walks away, he's completely vulnerable, but other times he blocks like crazy.
Nice. One thing that's cool about this fight is that, well, you are required to use sword, but then whatever ability you came in with, the game gives it back to you after the fight.
Yeah, so if I had Tornado, I would have been able to go in, grab sword, and then keep Tornado right here, which would have been nice, but okay, we'll do this the old way.
So coming up, we're going to see the last big clip in the run.
I did not mean to do that, but I guess I have an extra life now. Alright.
So we're going to make ourselves a one-tile gap out of these blocks. Oh, first try. And then just float through this.
Yep. No need to get burning or hammer or whatever you have to do normally to get here. Oh my gosh, please. You know what? I will go ahead and just take this power instead. That is what was usually done before, I think. Although I don't like... Before, I wouldn't like using this because using this power, I think, generates more lag than just keeping laser. But it's also really hard to hit with laser.
Oh, the old strat is to use ice, not freeze.
Oh, really? Wait,
Yeah.
Oh, right, ice off of, off the thingy. My bad.
Yeah,
right. You know what? I tried to improvise my best.
We'll see how this fight goes.
And... Ouch, I messed up. Alright, just gonna wait here. Please. Okay. Alright, that's almost what should have happened the very first time I fought him. Now, you know, hope I get good luck here. I do.
Yeah, so this game has a bunch of like hidden shortcuts, like completely unmarked, such as the one entering this. And as a result, you actually get more aggressive versions of these mini bosses. And so the behavior for these guys is a little bit different than like any previous iteration that you saw.
I don't even understand how I improvised that Bugsy, but I guess I did it. They generally, like, most of the time, give you the desired pattern, but sometimes they'll, like, jump, and like I stated before, Hammer has the smallest hitbox in existence, so trying to actually hammer these enemies when they're not giving you the pattern you need, and you know they're gonna grab you if you mess up, it is pretty scary.
Yeah, I would say most of this game is relatively light in terms of luck, but Meta Knight and 7-2 can ruin your day.
Okay, so now I'm going to try to mix for Tornado here. It should be the final power I use until DVD. Okay, very nice.
Nice. So this next room has a bunch of slopes, but we're gonna just go blast through all of them using Tornado. It's actually normally really, really annoying to climb up.
That room is very terrible without Tornado. Because, like, for one, so I said slopes in this game, like, way earlier. Trying to go up them slows down Kirby. For some reason, that works when they're upside down, too. So, like, you'll, like, float into the top of them, and it just slows you down like crazy. Like, you can't even move, almost. That, and sometimes you can accidentally clip through the corners of the diamonds in that room and then actually get stuck in there, which is very terrible. So I'm very grateful for Tornado being here.
Yeah, so that acute angle clip that we were talking about earlier, that room is all acute angles. So this is a relatively new idea of keeping Tornado all the way to essentially the end of the game. This level, it's actually kind of annoying to use Tornado because Tornado can't break through blocks. So these small rooms, you don't really have that much room to be doing a bunch of Tornado.
Oops, I messed up. Oh, yeah, there we go. No problem. Okay, yesterday when running this, it was so weird. I somehow despawned that cannon twice. And, like, I didn't understand how. Not that it was irrelevant. I don't think it really reduced any lag, but it just wasn't there. I'm like, I guess there was too much lag for it.
Yeah, yes. If there's too much lag, sometimes certain enemies won't spawn. And there are certain cases where some mini bosses don't spawn, and you just soft launch.
I've actually never seen or done that. That sounds terrible.
Luckily, the only place I know where this can happen is just in World 2, so it's not too bad.
Okay. Oh, nice. I actually got through there. Usually, if you're not spaced just right, sliding into, no, tornadoing up into that section right there, you'll like rebound off the wall and go back the other way.
Alright, so this is like 2 games in one. So if you like Kirby's Dream Land, you get to play through most of it. In the very cool idea involving palette swaps.
Yeah, I really love the idea to this level. I think it's one of the best nods to Dreamland. And here is the very last clip. It is completely optional. I actually got it. Wow. Yeah, this does not really save that much time at all over just going the normal way down there, breaking that block, but I like doing it anyway. And now I will get the very last switch in the game. So, this one is hidden underneath the moon here.
Yeah, it's not even the moon, it's the tile underneath the moon.
Yeah.
This game really does not give you many hints as to where things are. As you're going to see in the remake, they actually do a much better job of hinting at where secret doors are. So Tracy's going to reset right here, and that's going to reset the random number generator. And the effect of that is that we can control what kind of luck we get for deity. And one way that we can actually sort of measure what the random number generator is doing is to see what direction the stars bounce out when Kirby hits the ground.
Yeah, because honestly, the stars themselves, they depend on RNG to decide where they go. So it's a very great thing to know exactly what the luck is at, so you can abuse that to your knowledge.
Yeah, and ball is normally very, very precise. You only have a few pixels to jump up and down without taking damage. So it's very nice to have a manipulation where D just stands in the same spot pretty much the whole. So Knightmare Orb is a fight which technically doesn't really have any randomness.
I would argue that only if it's soft lock, but
Okay.
It didn't. Thankfully.
Right,
Sometimes for no reason at all, the game the screen doesn't even scroll up to this. It just loops infinitely for like 5 minutes and then it continues, and nobody knows why.
I'm gonna say I've lost 5 like PB pace runs to that glitch. Alright, once again, not too much randomness involved here.
Oh no.
Knightmare will spawn in specific spots. Like, I guess random spots, but the patterns will be more or less the same. So,
Yeah.
time will be coming up soon. So, right now we're in 2 out of 6 hits.
Alright. Cool, I actually got that. And this should be the very last one. Time.
Alright, GG, nice.
Should I wait through the credits to validate that it's 100%? Or nah, I'm not sure.
Well, we got a bit of time. If you wanted to like give any shout outs or anything, we can let the credits roll while you do that.
Hmm.
Okay, you got 100%.
I did.
Yes.
Okay. Alright. Very nice. What was my time on that anyway?
It says 51:40 on stream.
What? 51:40?
51:40.
I think I beat my actual time from yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah, by like 13 seconds, but still. Alright, that's great. That's
GG.
even better than I imagined. Alright. I did not expect that.
Well, thank you for showing off that great run. Did you have any shout-outs you wanted to give?
I don't know how. I have nothing on my mind right now. Like, I'm at a blank.
No worries. I've been on that side myself. It definitely blanked out my mind too. Well, with that in mind, the show is called Retro Reboot. So kind of the idea here is we show off a retro game, and then we show off its like remake or reboot, and we're going to kind of discuss their differences from a speedrun perspective. So coming up next, we have Kirby Knightmare in Dreamland, 100%, run by Lori D. Bunnykins. So we're going to take just a quick break to get that set up. We're going to play an ad, so please stick around if you can watch that ad, because hotfix events, they're funded and supported by, viewers like you. Subs, cheers, ad watching, so all that good stuff. But once we come back, we're going to have a brief discussion about the differences between Kirby's Adventure and Knightmare in Dreamland, and then we're going to get into that second run. And we are back! Hope everyone had enough time to grab a drink of water, stretch their legs during that short break. In the meantime, we have brought on board Lori D. Bunnykins and Mr. Shasta. Lori is going to be doing the next run, as I mentioned before the break, Kirby Knightmare in Dreamland 100%, with Shasta doing commentary. But before we get started, we still have Tracy and SK with us. We're going to talk about some of the differences between the runs. So I'm going to kind of just let y'all discuss what you think some of the differences from a speedrun perspective are.
All right. Hello, by the way, I'm Lori. And I guess the first thing I can say is, for all you Tornado fans that were loving the last run, I'm sorry to say it's barely going to get any use if it does at all here. A lot of ability balancing patches were made between, I think there were 10 years between the release of this game and Kirby's Adventure, or Kirby's Adventure in this game, rather. So,
I'm curious.
a lot of, well, not a lot, but like some changes were made to what's actually faster, and Tornado was kind of like scuffed.
Yeah, this run
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Tornado is much more vulnerable in Nightmare in Dreamland. Like, if you notice, I could start up Tornado right before I touch an enemy and basically have invincibility on that frame and go straight through it. But if you try doing something, then you'll get Tornado smacked right out of you.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff we do in this game actually revolves around Wheel, oddly enough. Wheel is just very, very fast, it's very versatile, it just allows you to go across screens way easily. Except for if it's very vertical, then we use other powers for that, but yeah. You're gonna see a lot of that this run.
Mm-hmm. And also you're going to see a lot of just movement differences in general. All that crazy sliding stuff that Tracy was doing doesn't really work in this game. There's like a lot of, I want to say friction, I think is the best way I can describe on Kirby's movement, to where, you don't get speed boosts like that.
Yeah, you kind of just like stop off of ledges a lot of the time, but not like a hard stop or anything. You still slide off of it, but you don't get like that giant boost stuff like you do in Adventure. This game is just used for like saving frames everywhere essentially, because sliding off a ledge is faster than just sliding normally in this case, and then having the full animation play out. Yeah,
because sliding is usually fast, but the animation at the end of the slide is not fast.
Yep, exactly.
On top of that, the other obvious thing to point out is if you don't like lag, this is the better game of the two.
Yeah, there's no lag in this game.
This game does not lag.
It does not do that.
Inputs like to do funny stuff, you're like in the middle of something happening. So like if you try and hit an input in like an enemy dying animation, it can not work sometimes. But that's just like stuff is happening on screen.
Yeah,
That's
this
just
is
common
a
thing in
lot.
a lot of games.
It's just a lot to handle sometimes, you know. So it is what it is.
Yeah,
like-
since this is a different physics engine, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the Nightmare and Dreamland run is completely glitchless, or at least
Yes.
no useful glitches.
Yes, that sounds correct.
Yeah, pretty much, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I guess from obviously some levels and some rooms are going to be slightly different, but one thing that I noticed is that for the butter building rooms, like there are some rooms where you're running outside of butter building. It's like a scrolling cylindrical room.
Yeah.
In Nightmare and Dreamland, it's been replaced with the
Auto
fog
scrollers.
rooms.
Yep,
Yeah,
you just wait
yeah.
there. You just wait there.
Yeah. Other than that, though, and a few other minor changes, I think it's also good to point out that this upcoming game's Nightmare and Dreamland's level design is very, very faithful to Adventure. There's not too many changes.
Some rooms more or less have been shortened or extended, but most of them, the important ones, are all about the same.
Yeah, and there's also a lot less of those mentioned, like, fog rooms. I think, like, almost every level in World 3 in Adventure has one of those scrolling rooms. Meanwhile, there's, like, 2 fog rooms in this game.
Yeah, just 2. It's not a huge deal or anything. Thankfully.
It just means less waiting for us.
Exactly.
Well, I'm gonna jump in here because speaking of waiting, I think it's about time that we kind of get this run started. I know chat is very much looking forward to this. I see a lot of hype in here for Nightmare and Dreamland. So thank you again, Tracy and Swordsman Kirby. Tracy for the run in SK, for the fantastic commentary to Kirby's adventure. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for having
It was
us.
fun.
I'll see you later,
Right.
friendos.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, and then Lori, I guess whenever you are ready, if you can give us a countdown, we can get started here with Nightmare and Dreamland 100%.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to be starting up here. Again, we already did introductions during that last section, so I guess I don't really have anything else to say other than to get started. So we are going to get started in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So, similarly to Adventure, there is a mix you can do in this first level here. It is very difficult in this game, so I'm not going to be going for it. So you're going to see me with powerless movement for a little bit. And fortunately, powerless movement is pretty good. Your dash speed is decent. Obviously, there are many abilities that have good movement speed, but it's serviceable at least. And a lot of the levels here, we don't have to do much flying. When you're flying, you're slower, so we get to deal with, not being slower.
Not being slow is good, especially in a speedrun.
It is pretty good, in my opinion. So, one thing you're going to see coming up is we're going to have our first mini-boss. And I mentioned in the pre-run discussion there were some changes in terms of, like, how good of some certain abilities are. That doesn't really change a lot of other stuff, so we can still, like, plow through mini-bosses with double stars. That's unchanged.
Like this one right here, for instance. We're about to select up 2 broad birds and just take them out in 1 hit.
Yeah, that is... One of the funniest things is, for those that didn't catch it back in June, I was actually on the couch when Shasta ran this game at SGDQ. And I still watch that run back every now and then because, it was my first GDQ, my first time on a GDQ couch. It was very exciting for me. A lot of people apparently didn't know about the double star trick.
Did they not?
No, yeah, there's like several comments that are like, I never knew you could double star a mini boss like that. It's one of the coolest strats.
It's really cool. I love it.
Speaking of cool stuff, I finally have an ability. The first ability I pick up in this run is Burning. Burning is very good in this game. It's shorter. I don't think it's shorter than an Adventure, but like, I think the lack of lag really makes it show how short it actually is. But it definitely feels less. Like when you use it in Adventure, you're very in a line, but this game lets you kind of shift quickly, so it's very easy to use.
I feel like part of it, like part of the reason why it feels so short is because the levels itself are a bit more compressed than Adventure.
That's true.
Some of them are just like gigantic. They have like gigantic screens and stuff. This game has like a lot of shorter screens, generally at least.
Okay, I am having big problems with Frosty right now. In relation to that shorter screen, oh my goodness! Fair to note that this game went from NES to GBA, so of course it's gonna have, you know, shorter stuff. I should actually probably grab that pet brew that was up there.
Yes, please do that.
I didn't do it.
Oh no.
Fortunately, this screen is the rest of this level is easy. The next time I'm gonna get a heal is
2-2. It'll be in 2-2.
I could die in 2-1.
Yeah, but you're good, so you'll be fine.
That's true, I guess. Yeah, that was... I was having a lot of problem with Frosty, like, the week leading up to this event, and I was like, alright, Frosty, please be nice. Yeah, no. He wasn't. Fortunately, Wispy can't really do anything to be mean, so we have a bit of a free boss fight here.
Yeah, all you gotta do is just time your hits for Wispy in this case.
And I
so, like, you're not just, like, spamming it over and over, you're just timing it, like...
yeah, something like that.
And they have to land right... They have to land, like, right in the middle after you get the star rod, so Kirby doesn't walk as much.
Yeah, and I mentioned I failed something. You saw when I grabbed the star rod, Kirby bounce on the ground. If you puff at, like, the right time, you can have the game consider yourself not falling for long enough to where that fall doesn't happen, or that bounce doesn't happen. It saves a little bit of time right at the end of the fight. Alright, I didn't get mean RNG in 2-1, so we didn't die.
Hooray!
This game is pretty scary. When we get to switches, because, you know, this is a 100% run, we'll be getting heals every time we hit a switch, so it becomes a lot less scary because, you know, oh! Okay.
Oh?
So, it becomes a lot less scary because we're going to be healing, like, almost every stage, or, like, multiple times a world at least. A lot of switches are very, like, in a row in this game, though. So, usually you try and do a double star here. I'm going to have to set it up funny because I have to get an ability, but that's what it should look like, basically. And here we have Wheel, which is the best in terms of horizontal movement, and one that you're going to see a little bit of in this run. Not quite as much as in any %, where, because, you know, we have to use abilities to hit switches, but it still gets some decent use in this category.
Yeah, 8%, like, a lot of optimizations when people are grinding for Lucker and that were just came down to where can we use Wheel the most?
Yeah, it was. And there are some crazy Wheel strats in that run.
There's a lot of mixes.
This level, there's a strategy where you can try and keep Wheel through the whole thing. It's hard.
When I was going for a Lucker and 8%, like, that was the one strat I never learned because it was just too difficult and risky.
Yeah, but some people do it. Basically, what's going to happen next is our first Meta Knight arena, and those are fun.
Yep. So in this case, Laura's going to spit out her power and then just like suck up all the enemies and spit them back at each other in a certain way.
Yeah.
That's the
as
best way to get through them.
During the previous adventure run, there are like enemies will spawn after specific enemies are dead, but it's not like one big chain. It's a lot of small connected chains. So the way those arenas are done are to, you know, make sure you can get all of those chains correctly. Otherwise, you'll just either be like wandering around, wondering why an enemy's not there, or you'll be like going around the whole screen just to kill one enemy. Which is not fun. Also, I didn't have my ability there because, as you saw, I was spitting out enemies and throwing them back at other enemies. Not every ability actually one-hit kills another Meta Knight enemy. So, you're going to see that strategy in 4 of the 5 of this game's arena. I also am Half Spark now, because it was really strong against that mini-boss, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's all I really needed for. You could use it to, like, cancel bonking on the ground. later on too, but
I'm gonna be doing that at the end of the stage, yeah. But like, that's really it, and is good damage. I want to say it's like in this game one of the top 3 in damage per second.
I'd say so, yeah. Like that needle, and then I don't even know what else. But
I didn't
those
even
two for
think
sure.
about needle. We don't use needle in this run.
We don't use needle at all in this game, for speedrunning at least. It's pretty sad.
Unless you're doing like needle percent, I guess.
Singular power percents.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, I was thinking of. Well, I'm not gonna say. We'll get into that later. I have wheel again.
There. Wheel.
We're gonna use it for 2 screens. There's like something on this screen that I believe is subpixel dependent. I don't go for it. I went for it.
Yeah, if there's like a weird subpixel thing there, where if something happens, you'll save a second or so.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter much, but like it's a thing.
That's why you saw me bonk on that last screen. I wanted to get it. And
now we got high jump, which is also very, very good.
Yeah, it's vertical wheel.
Yeah, pretty much. High jump is very good in the fact that you can cancel in this game, so you're not just stuck in the animation the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you press B, they can just like cancel out of it. That cancel also has a hitbox. If we use a cancel, we can destroy paint roller up here really quickly with it.
That was a good paint roller. Floppy in some places, but it worked out well.
Oh, nice. Got top right. Yeah, that's very good.
If I had moved to the right more, I probably could have gotten like a really, really good paint roller, but you know, we take what we get.
We definitely take those.
That is a boss that can ruin runs.
Yeah, he goes into 3 spots essentially, and Lori got the best power in this case, going top right.
Yep.
So now we're in World 3. Now after that, now we're starting off with the 100% run right here essentially.
Yeah.
Here's
this
where
is the first level that's different, and it is like not very different. The World 3 is the first world with switches, and both of them are like 2-screen detours that don't require an ability change, so it's still an unremarkably similar category. World 6 is like the biggest difference.
Yeah, World 6 has a switch in every single level, it's crazy.
And 5 has a switch in 4, and I think some of those require some ability shenanigans, but like 3 and 4, I think they don't require an ability switch at all for any switches in that world, so...
I think that's correct, honestly. I never really thought of that before.
Trying to remember them.
3 is a very tricky level because there's
they don't.
difficult. Yeah, 3 is a very tricky level because there's a few like very tricky screens in here. First screen in particular, you have to go like into a one tall gap in the ladder if you do it correctly, but it's really hard to do that. So then we got Bugsy. Bugsy is just the worst. It's the first like, I'd say it's like one of the first instances of just like pure luck in the run.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, Bugsy has, if you grab the front, or you touch, like, Bugsy's front hitbox, you get, like, the best way I can describe it if you're a Smash player, or any type of that game, is you get command grabbed, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. No matter what you're doing,
they'll
just grab you. You can't hear yourself out of it either. That's the worst, but it is what it is.
Fortunately, I had a really good fight there, but there's one notable meme in the community in particular, where one of the throws that Bugsy does is he throws you into the ground like 5 times, and it takes multiple seconds.
It's really bad.
Yeah, so...
It's just like 4 seconds for no reason. It's weird.
It does! But fortunately, that didn't happen again. And hopefully we won't see it, because there is another Bugsy fight. Also, that's something I never mentioned during, the pre-run talk, but there was a mini-boss in Kirby's Adventure that was like this turtle guy. He's gone and replaced with Bugsy. I don't know...
No, he's not. He's replaced with Fan.
Right. Other way around.
Yeah.
I was thinking that... But that turtle is gone, spoilers.
Yeah, we'll miss you, turtle.
A lot of plastic straws were used between Adventure and Knightmare.
Apparently. Pollution jokes, we got them.
The elephants really benefited off of the lack of turtles. That was a good arena, by the way. There was an arena.
Oh, that was really good, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one arena I mentioned that doesn't use powerless strats because it uses high jump.
Yeah, high jump's really good for that. And you also need high jump for 3.5 and 3.6 in this case.
Mhm.
It just saves a lot of time both those levels, especially 3-5.
Yeah, because I mean, look at the screen.
I want to say back in the day when I was like figured out, but back in like 2014, 2013 or so, that saved like 10 plus seconds or so just by keeping it there through 3-4.
Yeah,
It's nuts.
the normal strategy, or not the normal anymore, but like what used to happen, and what you sometimes do if you lose your high jump in that arena, which can happen, is there's a museum in this game on the overworld. Again, the 100% run doesn't worry about like the actual doing the stuff on the overworld. You just have to unlock the whole overworld.
Yep, just need switches.
Yeah, but one of the things that is unlocked on the overworld throughout the worlds is a museum where you can get just power-ups kind of for free sitting there. So what you usually see happen if somebody drops their high jump or goes for a powerless arena strat on 3-4 is they'll go to the museum in World 3, which has high jump.
Speaking of stuff unlocked in the overworld, by the way, Lord's about to do get another switch here in a second after this fog screen.
Yep. And then we have the dark room.
Oh yeah, I've noticed. Well, oh yeah, in the dark room. Okay, so like in this game there's a few dark rooms, but thankfully you can just see it, especially if you're playing on Game Boy Player. You can just kind of see where you're going there. It's not too bad. Just my favorite enemy name, by the way. Those ghosts with sunglasses. The cool spooks.
Yeah.
It's very appropriate.
I'm not running on Game Boy Player, as I think the stream overlay says. Oh hey, good luck. All right, so we kind of have groups in this game regarding this boss.
Moon Crew.
The two bosses have a 50-50 chance which one is vulnerable first. And instead of like, having fun with it, we're mega competitive about it. I'm part of the Moon Crew, so I always guess that the moon will be vulnerable. And I was right.
Hooray! Let's go, Moon Crew.
Shasta actually has merch. There are Sun Gang and Moon Crew shirts.
I do, yeah.
If that strikes your fancy. That's another thing, is I mentioned the SGDQ runs comments earlier. There are many people that were like, I didn't know the Moon Crew was a thing, but I support it now.
Heck yeah.
Great.
Let's go.
That's just what we love. There's a switch here, by the way.
The shirts are still up too, by the way. It's nice.
Yeah, the shirts are still up.
But yeah, there's a switch right here. This one, you kind of tend to use UFO in the previous room to get, but since we keep high jump, it's just faster to use that.
Yeah, I learned the high jump strat like 45 minutes ago.
Oh, nice. It's not too bad, honestly.
I really shouldn't. Yeah, no, because I use high jump in any person there, so it shouldn't be much harder.
Ooh, nice burning there.
Yeah, the burning mix is you can wheel mix here, and I know how to do the mix, like where it is in the ability wheel, but I don't know how to do the wheel movement in 4-2.
Yeah, it's pretty tricky in 4-2. It took me like a few hours to actually get it down.
Oh yeah, that's the first mix in my run.
Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot.
If you were not here for Kirby's Adventure, if you put two enemies that usually give you an ability in your mouth at the same time, it gives you this roulette wheel that lets you get a random ability. Except it's not random at all. The abilities are always in the same order, and the order of stuff, or like where the wheel starts, is just entirely dependent on what enemy goes into your mouth first. So every mix is completely manipulatable to get any ability you want, as long as you can hit A in a 4-frame window.
It also depends on which enemy you suck up first as well, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So,
that's why when you saw me do some kind of funky movement to hit the Blade Knight in my mouth before the Twister, because if I put the Twister in my mouth and then just held down, I would not have got burning.
That's nice double Poppy Bros fight.
Yeah, that was a really good double Poppy Bro. That fight, it can be very annoying because this game, he's just gone right there. So those guys like to hit me because I'm bad at spacing.
I like the strawberry go.
Played me in Smash. He knows I'm bad at spacing.
I'm just good because I've been playing competitively for a while.
Well, I'm also bad at spacing.
It's okay.
No,
You'll get there.
I don't really play Smash too much personally, so I don't mind.
Definitely
There's
fair.
a switch there, by the way. I just kind of went to the right, which is what you do in a platformer, and I got a bonus, which is neat.
I love that switch right there.
It's a good switch.
Yeah. Let's go right past the door.
I didn't even need that pep brew. I just wanted to flex.
Straight flexing.
I hit B one too many times and it was like, oh, damn it. I am not doing good on the goal games right now. So I'm supposed to time it so that I land at the bottom of these goal games, and if I don't do that, I lose time. And that time really adds up. I lost over a second because of that goal game right there, and there are 39 of them in the run, so I don't want to lose time like that on more goal games, even though that's not the first time I've done that on a goal game this run.
Yeah, so like getting the lowest, you want to get like a low 7 on the goal game. It's a 3-frame window to get a 7 in the first place, but you want the lowest one because it saves the most amount of time because Kirby lands faster. Doing that's frame perfect though.
Mm-hmm.
If you get the 4th frame in this case, you grab a cloud, and that's not what you want at all.
Yeah, there are frames
that wastes a second and a half.
Yeah, there are frames where you will grab onto the ledge of a cloud and like climb up. And well, it's funny because this game is charming and stuff. It's not fast.
Not at all. It all adds up in the end. If you do that every cloud game, that's like over a minute, I think. Or around a minute.
This is the boss that killed the turtle, by the way, not Bugsy.
Fan.
He rolled into me, which is rude.
He's actually a pretty infamous boss in this game in general.
Yeah. He also has a command grab.
When we get to the boss rush later in 7-2, you'll see why exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say that much. Oh yeah, so right here, for a while we actually used fan and used that in this room and also in the arena in 4-5. But like as of a few months ago, I want to say, or like just earlier this year, we switched to using Spark here because it's just faster, and then use Powerless for the 4-5 arena.
Yeah. The 4-5 arena is my favorite because I'm good at it, and I hope I didn't just jinx it.
Oh no. No jinx.
Let's go!
Nice. 4-5 arena looks really cool Powerless, honestly. I kind of like how it looks in general.
I almost got it perfect, but I went for the ceiling bonk at the end and didn't get it.
It happens.
Yeah. You saw me right at the end of that arena. I jumped and hit the ceiling and didn't hit the enemy. So I went and hit the enemy but didn't hit the ceiling. You can do both, and then you can, get the enemy in your mouth without having to do the full jump because you bonk on the ceiling, but it's, again, a spacing thing.
Definitely.
It was still a good arena. My arena has been good so far this run.
Kill it.
Which is, again, a lot like when you played this game on GDQ. So, if there's anything to go by, I'm just going to do horribly on 6-6.
6-6.
It's not
that level
fun.
never goes well.
Nope,
never goes well.
It's impossible to go well. Speaking of 6, this is 4-6.
Except for my PB, it went very well.
It went very well. Oh,
it's like a second best in my PB because for the first time ever it went well.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, it never goes well.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes well once and you get an unbeatable goal.
Exactly.
There's a switch there, by the way.
Yeah, that switch is one of those ones that's very hidden. That's one I never found as a kid or even tried to look for, really. Because, like, the cool spook layer on that room is, like, further down. So I never expect to backtrack for that one.
Yeah, both the light copy abilities in that room after the cool spook. Or both of the cool spooks in that room are after the switch room, so you do have to backtrack unless you just know where it is. Fortunately, you don't have to use light to... Oh, get in the door. Fortunately, you don't have to use light to make
the spawn door, right? Yeah.
To make the door work. There we go. Yeah, thanks.
There we go. You did.
Speaking, I still don't know. Could tell.
I got a little delay on my end for the video.
Yeah.
I just saw you did for the door.
It's a fun dance. We call that getting final boss because, of course, we do. And no, this is Krako.
Krako is the only main boss in the game that has a little level before it.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I like it personally.
And then you high jump him.
It does suck we miss a cloud there, and then Krako catches up to you.
Yeah. Fortunately, the one I missed was one where he's kind of scripted in that scene to be at certain positions based on cloud you're in the height leading to the mini boss or the boss itself. And fortunately, the one that I kind of messed up was one where he's, shying down before flying up to the top.
Good fight, by the way.
Yeah, that was a decent fight. Here's my favorite switch in the game. I'm gonna use stone and then just use it for a second or two longer than you usually do in any percent, and I'm gonna go for it.
Just don't hold on to it for too long.
I'm good at the timing.
Yeah, same. It's not too bad.
It's not a hard timing because the game, it doesn't lag this lag, but it has that little effect where the game freezes when
I
you
still
hit
understand
something.
why. I still understand why that medicine's right after the switch, though. It makes no
I don't
sense
either.
to me.
I mention that every single stream I do of this category. I actually only learned this category fairly recently when I was approached for this event. Because our wonderful host was like, hey, do you know Hundo? And I was like, no. And she was like, learn it? And I was like, okay.
Funnily enough, back in the day, I actually learned 100% for a online marathon, the High Quiet Marathon. That's the only reason I learned it back in the day.
Yeah,
I want
learned-
to
So
point out
what's
that that's a
the-
misrepresentation of the facts. Just want to say that.
Yeah, but it's a funny representation of the fact. Shout out to Zoe.
Shout out to Zoe.
I
Shout out to
actually
online marathons in general, and online
shout out
events
to
in
online
general.
marathons in general. Yeah. But speaking of online stuff though, and learning this game, I actually did learn this game because of a tournament we held in like the spring, summertime ish, mostly spring. I think I was eliminated before it was summer, so spring. But yeah, I learned this game mainly because of a tournament we did back in spring, which was a lot of fun. So
It's
shout out
pretty
to
great.
everybody who put that together. Also, I used Ball in that stage. Ball is the best damaging ability in the game.
Yeah, we mentioned it. Ball's really good. Ball 2-hit kills main bosses right now, and World 7 will 3-hit kill it. But yeah, it's really good.
It's hard to control.
It's a power that a lot of people glance over casually, but is like the most powerful power in the game.
Yeah, it takes more than one playthrough of the game to learn all of its nuances. But,
It is really hard to use, though, to say the least.
it
That's
is, yeah.
the
Even
thing.
the way it works is that you're vulnerable when you're on the ground or at the peak of the height of your bounce. So you have to hit an enemy when you're like in the middle of the air. Eventually, the peak of your bounce just becomes the ceiling, and that makes it easier to track. But technicalities.
Yeah,
Sometimes you're your own ceiling.
it's true. Also, shout out to the Spike Room for being tricky as heck.
You have a strat named after yourself in the spike room.
Yeah,
that I
Shast
didn't go
turrets.
for because that's hard.
You could have also gone for in 4-4 as well, too. Eyes emoji.
No. Yeah, it's basically I don't even know how it works. How does it work? It's named after you.
You turn around in the middle of turn animation, you cancel the wheel. So
That.
it sends you flying like further because of it.
Alright, I messed up the beginning of this arena here, but I salvaged it. It was still okay.
Yeah, that ring is really hard, honestly. It's
Yeah,
one
it's
that's very
probably
easy
one
to
of the
mess
harder
up.
This is ball swag.
Boss way.
It saves a second and is scary.
Scary, but looks cool. I used to think
And
it
then-
was a lot more scarier, but like someone found a set for it, made it a lot easier.
Another hard switch, by the way.
Ooh. How does she do it?
How does she know? Yeah, I know. It's not like Kirby, Nightmare, and Dreamland did a weird thing where door tiles have to be visible even if they're not supposed to be. So it's incredibly obvious there's a door in that waterfall. I have that problem again with the Switch in 6.4. Even in Kirby's Adventure, it's kind of weird. There's a hole in the wall. But, I mean, that's just a game show, and we like game shows.
I like game shows.
Is
What's your
Hole in the
favorite
Wall
game
still
show?
running?
I have no idea. I want to say no, but I don't know.
That's fun. Hole in the Wall is great. What's my favorite game show? I don't know what my favorite game show is.
I've been watching a lot of Lingo on YouTube recently. Like all the episodes are there. I think that show's pretty good.
I think conceptually my favorite is probably like $1 Million Pyramid.
Ooh, yeah, that's pretty
Switch,
good
by
too.
the way.
Switch, yeah. We used
Yeah.
the can for that one, which was like the only time we used in the run, I think. Oh no, used
Nope.
it twice. Yeah, 6.5
there's
as well.
one more cannon. There's 2 more cannons actually.
Oh wait, what's the other one?
6.3.
Okay. 6.3, yeah, that's right. There we go. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
'cause
that's- yeah.
okay, I remember now. It's been a stuff run 100%, honestly.
Yeah, it makes sense. Fireline did not like me today. High Jump has janky hitboxes. We talked about how you can cancel it for extra damage, but we also didn't talk about the fact that like, depending on where you are within an enemy's hitbox, it can do different damage values. And I was not in a good part of Firelion's hitbox there, so he was just able to like roam freely and do whatever the hell he wanted, and that's not good.
Yeah, ideally, if you're close enough, you can do you just 3 a kill Firelion in this case with high jump.
Yep. And this
But
is
it's
an
really
annoying strat. I think I did it wrong. I'm just gonna do this. Let's just pretend I did it right. I'm gonna go for this once before doing a safer strat. So I need hammer in the screen, but there's a lot of wheels, and wheels are good. So I'm gonna just mix hammer at the end. Usually in any percent, what you'll do is hammer is not only good for the Switch, but also for the upcoming boss. So you'll do this level with all wheel and then get hammer and go back in to do the hammer mix like that, and then fight the boss. But, you know, since you need hammer, it's better to just get it now. And that means I don't have to go back into the stage. However, I wanted hammer at the end of the stage because obviously wheeling for as much as I can is good. However, not only does it make that mix setup I did much trickier than the usual one, but also it meant if I missed it, I would have been in a place where I couldn't really have set it up again, and I would have had to soft reset the level, in which case I would have just done it like the any percent way.
Yeah. If you lose hammer, you just have to go back and go back through the whole level and just do it again.
Yeah,
But thankfully, we hit the Switch and just quit out at that point.
I mean, at that point, I feel like it would be better to soft reset and just do the first screen again.
Yeah, true too as well.
But, like, to me, at this point in me running this category, it's a kind of a reset if I miss that in general, so I don't really think about that often. There was a boss fight during that, by the way.
I was about to say that. This is Heavy Mole. Heavy Mole's tricky. We use hammer for it because it's a lot more safe than any of the power. And also the floor just it can break.
The floor can break. The top and bottom switch, like, alternate which one has a movement of his little spike balls. However, they can kind of do these little baby swings, so you have to be careful. Otherwise, you know, you might not notice that you're about to get smacked. I just lost hammer when I need it for the Switch in the stage. Fortunately, there's a backup mix right here. If you don't touch anything in the mix wheel, it will eventually just end on its own. And if a Sparky gets in your mouth first, it ends on hammer. So that's a good backup for if you take damage in that water room, like I did there. And frogs move in completely luck-based ways, so it's very easy to get hit in that water room.
Yeah, the Surf Slippies or the frogs in this game are super scary to say the least.
Yeah.
They move wherever they want to. They don't care.
Even though Sir Slippy is a fine name, if I do say so myself.
Agreed. Let's go, Star Fox.
Okay, real talk, I actually really like Slippy.
I like Slippy as well, too.
Take. That's a hot take, but, like, Slippy's cool.
Slippy's a fun character. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah.
In a series of a bunch of fun characters existing.
Mm-hmm. So this stage we grab Stone again, because we need it. I almost messed that screen up. World 6, as we mentioned earlier, has a switch in every stage, so it's the most unique from any percent. And not only that, since it's latest in the game, there's only 7 worlds, not including the final boss, which has its own World 8. Even though World 8 is literally, again, just a 2-part boss fight. What ends up happening is there's a lot of power-up diversity because it brings pretty complex solutions to getting a lot of these switches compared to, like, the ones you saw in World 3 and 4, where I literally just took like, 1-room detours. You'll see that in 6-3 especially. That switch has a lot going on. There we go. One thing that happened in that room, I guess I should mention this now, because when you see that bomb enemy, I tend to try and destroy it as much as possible. As you saw there, I didn't destroy it, and it did this thing where it had a very large explosion that stopped the game for a second. That's why we don't like those enemies. And why I try and destroy them as quick as I can. Bonkers is here, by the way. We need his hammer, because of course we do.
Hammer is very important.
Yep. So, that fire trick that Tracy did in 6-3 in Adventure does not work in this game. So instead of just using the fire guy that's in the camp, need to do is we need to go get this laser, go over to the cannon room, and then get rid of the fire guy in our way, shoot the laser. And it did not reflect. Please reflect, laser. Thank you.
Alternatively, if you want to do one of the hardest strats in the game, you can mix for the, I think it's 16th or 17th power in a mix, like right before before you get to Bonkers, and get UFO there and take it all the way through Bonkers into that room and skip laser entirely, which saves about 15 seconds or so, but it's really hard.
Not to do that.
Yeah, don't do that. I'm glad you didn't.
I have learned a 17th ability mix before when I learned Amazing Mirror, because right at the beginning of that run, you can mix for Wheel, which is 17th ability.
Yeah, I imagine it's really good for that game.
But, I mean, that one is kind of easy because you use the rhythm. I'm a musician, personally, so, like, I can use, like, a 16th note rhythm. I don't know why I decided to bring that up. Speaking of music, this game is really good music.
It's got lots of jams.
Yeah.
All remixed from Adventure in this case is good.
So.
I like Rainbow Resort the most personally.
Yeah, but with mixes, I mentioned that again in Amazing Mirror I learned the 17th, but the hardest one I do in this is like a second ability mix, and in any percent the hardest one I do is like a third ability. So early mixes like that you can usually just like by brain. Like, it can get pretty easy to time over time. So. An unfortunate side effect of the way 6.3 works is normally in any percent you mix Wheel there and can use it throughout all of World 6, but because you don't get after the switch in 6.3, you get spit out like well after that part of the stage where you can mix. And you also need abilities for some stuff in World 5. We don't really have anything for World 5, so I'm going to be powerless running through a decent chunk of it. As you can see, I'm already in the later part of the world. The switch room in this level in particular, like, was made for Wheel, it feels like. Doing that room at any percent is so cool, because you just, like, you plow through all these enemies, you hit all this stuff. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's nice. It's very nice, but 100% you have to get fire in this case.
Fire here, yeah. And deal with all these annoying enemies. This one always moves the same, unless it doesn't. If it does the movement I'm used to it doing, it won't hit me. And you get the switch. That was a close call on the cannon, actually. But we're good, fortunately. Lots of adverb. This level's not fun!
6.6 is, like I mentioned earlier, like 6.6 is not a good level. I'm just gonna say it.
6.6 does not go well. First thing of note is that I went in without an ability. I'm gonna take an ability. I'm gonna go for a strategy here that looks really scary. Gonna get a double star with these two, gonna spit it out while falling, and that'll destroy this metal block right here and lets me into the switch room. That is a lot less scary than it looks, actually. It's a pretty decent window to start flying after doing the spit, even if you get a pretty low spit. Like, I only broke the bottom block, and I still was, like, very confident in that spit.
Yeah, thankfully if you hold up in this game, you'll immediately float, so it's not as scary as it looks, to say the least. But here we go, we have the UFO room. The UFO room is one of the scary rooms in the whole game, and definitely one of the least consistent ones. All the UFOs just move wherever they want to, and Death Fear is not uncommon, to say the least.
Yeah, I unfortunately took a death there, and UFOs don't respawn upon death like a lot of things. Fortunately, I still got one back, so I can do a very easy double star on this double Frosty fight and move on.
These double Frosties are also like which one like throws an ice block at you. They can both do it, which is what you want. That's what happened here, but but if you want, you can go into there with a power and make it a little less, like, more consistent.
That's what you usually see as a power, because it's, as you saw there, I got double ice cube spit, but like that doesn't happen every time. But you usually always get at least one ice cube spit.
And now it's time for the arena of 6.6, which is thankfully the last three we'll see in the run, but it's also the hardest one because of the ice physics.
Yeah, it went pretty okay for me. I tried to do like a better strat than the one I got on the last room, or on the last like 2 set of enemies, but other than that, can't complain. Ice is an input dropping machine.
And by the way, after that level there with a lot of variance and luck in it, we got Meta Knight, who is all variance and luck.
Yeah, whether he blocks attack, whether he stabs you, whether he walks around, whether he jumps, everything is luck. And it's awful, because he really likes to block you and render your attack useless.
Yep.
That was still somewhat fast, despite a few blocks happening and a lot of just movements. So I'll take that fight. But that fight can be way worse.
Yep, and if you're going for a top time in this game, Meta Knight can make or break a run and go into World 7 for sure.
Yeah.
The same with 6-6 as a whole, but Meta Knight especially.
So I'm going to use Sword for a while here, and then I'm going to get rid of Sword and try and pick up Burning.
I think Burning's what's used in Adventure, if I remember correctly from the previous run. But in this game, if you just jump and use Sword, it legitimately saves like I think 5 seconds over the overusing Burning here. Weirdly enough.
I do need to use Burning at the end of the room to get into the door.
Oh, it's right. I forgot. We used to use Spark here for a while. Oddly enough.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, but now Burning's just better.
But then I get Burning and Mix for Ball.
And its mix looks tricky, but it's thankfully all I have to do is just like suck in the right enemies the right order and then just hold aim down. That's it.
When you're at the beginning of the room, you don't really have time to mess up a movement. A lot of enemy movements in this game can be kind of manipulated based on your movement in the screen prior to them spawning. So that can change or make or break if you can get a mix working or not. But that one, they always do the same thing, basically.
Now it's time for 7-2, by the way. 7-2 is a boss rush. We skipped 3 bosses by going to the very top of the level, right? But in this case, we have to fight Bonkers, then Fan being very annoying because you have to rely on Fan rolling. Because if they roll, they can get 2 hits on them and then a 3rd hit, like, right afterwards, easily. But it's really hard. And if Bugsy afterwards, they have to come towards us immediately.
Yeah.
And bounce off the wall. If Bugsy jumps like that, but if Lori there, then it's unfortunate. It's a bit of time loss.
Fire Lion is the last one, and he, fortunately, is another one where he can stand still a lot and not do a lot. So that is you take it, I guess, 7-2.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
But it's not horrible.
Yeah. It's definitely very passable.
Yeah,
nice.
And a lot of the time in this game, especially when you're just starting out, passable is amazing. Like,
yeah,
finishing runs is amazing.
Yeah, this is a hard game to finish runs and sometimes if you like start getting a really good time. Just because like it's very easy just like for things to snowball out of your control. To say at least.
I just know one of my friends is going to take me saying finishing runs is amazing out of context because I like reset all the time in this game. But, like,
I don't blame you either. It's
this
difficult.
Game's pretty reset heavy.
Thankfully, resets are very quick in this game, though. It's like 5 seconds, I think.
Yeah. And fortunately, the beginning world of this game, Vegetable Valley, doesn't suck.
Yep. Hooray!
I can think of some games I run that the early game is horrible, and this is not one of them.
100%. Vegetable Valley is pretty nice.
This is 100%.
Hey, it is! Any percent.
Oh.
It's not this.
Any percent is not this. Any percent is my preferred category. It's a harder category because you don't get all the heals from the switches unless you waste time. However, I personally think any percent is more fun, and it definitely has more resources because it's the more competitive category if you want to take a look at running this game yourself. This is still a fun category on its own.
Also, that first room at 7-4 is really brutal, to say at least. There's just so many enemies there. I think in my SGQ run, I called it a bad Mario Maker level.
I messed up the movement there as well.
Yeah, so, it happens.
Yeah, I did a burning much earlier than I usually do in my strat on that room. We have Spark here now. Spark is going to be good for the upcoming mini-boss in 7.5 and also for this room. Because it has a big area of damage, so I can just, like, break a block and move on with my day. There we go.
Nice. So in 7.5, we used to use Crash, which you get right at the beginning of the level. and then we have to hope that the main boss spawns like one of their enemies. I think the slowest I've ever gotten there is like 20 seconds before we finally spawn an enemy before we use spark strats. So
Oh no!
yeah.
Oh no! Oh
Oh,
no!
no.
Give me my spark back! No!
Oh, no.
I lost my spark. Okay,
Oh,
so
no.
you can see the crash strat.
You're gonna see that.
It's awful.
It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
Oh, I just missed it. I just
Yeah. Some abilities in this game have like elemental damage, kind of call it, where you'll get the special kind of knockback. Depending on if something hits you, like with fire enemies, ice enemies, spark enemies, stuff like that. I think Crash deals fire damage. Nothing ever deals like more than 1 damage in this game, but like I don't like hitboxes. Hitboxes are not my friend. So I'm dead.
Oh no.
Because the invulnerability phase of Wheel is great. Usually Wheel is great. The last level of this game is a callback to Kirby's Dream Land, so it's very flat, and that's really good for Wheel. However, since I died, I don't have Wheel anymore. Like, it's not worth it to go back in the stage and get it again, so you're just gonna kind of see me run for a while.
I was gonna suggest getting Burring there a second ago, but he went past it already.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that. I never thought about that before.
Yeah, that's probably a good backup.
I just
don't
kind
know.
of reset when that happens.
Yeah, try
Again, reset
Burring next time. If you lose Wheel there, just try Burring, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this level personally. I think it's really cool in general. Just as a whole, not even just like for going fast.
I think it's a cool level when you have a high amount of going into it, and also I had one of those things.
Fair enough, fair enough. But it's kind of weird to me the fact that like Adventure is a remake of, you know, no, Adventure is like the second Kirby game in the series and all that. Technically, that's not a spin-off or anything. And there's like a throwback to the first game within it. So like in this case, in the remake, it's a remake of that level. Oddly enough.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool though. It's still kept it in and everything.
Mm-hmm. So in this room, we have a mix. I just have to, you know, get to that part of the screen.
Yeah, we're gonna mix for Ball in this case, which is the second power in the mix. So you can't just hold down A for it.
I got Tornado. That's fine.
Yeah, it's just one past it. Thankfully, you can just easily get it again.
Yeah.
Try again.
Oh, I didn't think. I don't know why. I'll do that.
Yeah, you
go
just
down here.
Yeah, you go back down, you go back up in this case.
I went in the room already, so yeah, there's a thingy in the moon. Alright, there we go, I finally got it.
That's the last switch you get in the run.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, we can be fine.
Yeah, we're gonna get, once I beat the final boss, right before the ending starts, there's gonna be a little pop-up that says I got 100%, if I got 100%. So if I didn't miss a switch, but we still have 3 bosses to fight before that, the first one being...
King DD!
He is great, is what I would say if he was great. Unfortunately, he's not great. That actually went okay, though.
Yeah, it's all luck for DD, unfortunately. Thankfully, he's the last bit of luck in the run, though. That matters.
Yeah,
so
the
we're
last
good.
2 bosses, Knightmare, Orb, and Wizard, are completely consistent.
Yep.
So,
All you gotta do is move correctly and mash correctly.
The first fight has a lot of mashing, but like, what would a Kirby game be without a shoot 'em up segment?
Yeah.
This is so common for some reason. It's fun though. I don't really mind. This is actually one of my favorite parts of the run.
Same here.
So I don't mind it. The main thing I want to do is he's gonna do this attack that he was just about to gear up to do. I barely skipped it. He does this dash to the left side of the screen and then slowly flutters back to the right. And you can't turn with the Star Rod in flying form. Once I land on the ground for this part of the fight, the wizard, you can turn. So if he goes to the left side of the screen, you can't hit him at all. And it wastes a couple seconds where you're not able to hit him at all. Wizard is also a completely consistent boss. The types of attacks he does is the same every time, so I just have to actually, you know, hit him. Which didn't happen there!
The only look that matters on Knightmare in this case is on second, fourth, and sixth phases. I think it's every even phase in this case. You'll teleport to a random location, but it doesn't really matter too much in general though. It doesn't really save much time or lose much time.
I don't think teleports matter on 6. But 7 does if you need to do hit 7, which I do because I missed hit 2. So time's gonna be in a second when I get this last hit. Time!
GG.
Alright, I missed a hit on Knightmare, but it was still a pretty okay fight. And run overall. Run had definitely some lows, but I'll take it.
And then we got the screen though. We got the high Kirby.
We got the high Kirby.
Hi Kirby.
So yeah, there we go. That's Knightmare in Dreamland 100%.
Is that screen in Adventure as well? I didn't see it earlier.
I think so.
It's something after the credits that shows up.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
So it's earlier in this game. Interesting.
Well, that was awesome, Lori. Thank you so much for that run. I know that you're sticking around for our next run to do commentary, but while we wrap up this run, did you have any shout-out?
Shout-outs to the community for this game. A lot of people have found a lot of really cool things for this run, and it just makes it so much fun to do, and also it looks really, in my opinion at least. So shout-outs to basically everyone who's found something or made a tutorial. Specifically on the tutorial end of things, MK Cocoon, who made all the tutorials I used to help me get into this game and help me, you know, get better at things that I was not good at. So
Cocoon in general is just someone who's pushed this game down a lot. He currently has Woodpecker and I think every main category of this game, 8% and 100%. And yeah, like he's pushed the game a lot. I don't know if he's currently going for it, but I know like he's trying to go for like sub 38 and 8%. And he's like I think less than 10 seconds off of that, which is a freaking nutty time to say the least.
Yeah, he's very busy right now, unfortunately. But with like school stuff, and also there's a new Kirby tournament soon that's for Amazing Mirror any percent.
Let's go Amazing Mirror. Also a very good video game.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, that's every shout out I have to give. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, again, I super appreciate it, and I appreciate both you and Shasta taking time out of your Friday night to be on this debut episode of Retro Reboot. Kind of tying in with the theme of the show and the differences between a game and its remakes. There is a mode in this game that is not present in Kirby's Adventure called Meta Knightmare. We get to play as Meta Knight, and we're actually going to be showcasing a run of that as well. Garby the Glitcherous is going to be running that. I believe Lori is going to stick with us on commentary. But before we get to that, I do want to remind everybody that all of the GDQ Hotfix shows are basically funded by subs, cheers, and like the ads that we run during our breaks. So we really do appreciate all that support that we get between the main events. We're going to throw it to an ad here real quick while we get set up for the final run of the night. So grab a drink, sit down, watch the ad, do whatever you'd like, and be back in a couple minutes.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
And we are back again. Against all odds, I am still Zoe Vermillion, and this time I am joined by Garby the Glitcherous and Lori D. Bunnykins. Garby is going to be showcasing Knightmare in Dreamland Meta Knightmare for us, so it'll be similar to the last run, but different. It's kind of the point. So before we jump into that, Garby and Lori, did you want to kind of talk to the differences between these two modes?
So the main difference, the big difference is that instead of getting 4 like 5 lives and 6 health, you only get 3 health. That's similar to extra mode, except in this mode, Meta Knightmare also controls a little bit different. Like you have to just it's kind of like having a permanent sword ability, except Meta Knight kind of works differently. Like instead of floating up, he flies, and that's significantly slower than just running. And also you can't enter any of the bonus rooms, so it's quite a bit more tricky. And also the health power-ups only restore 1 health instead of 2.
Yeah, this game, this mode, as you mentioned, takes place with extra mode, which, as you might have noticed, I unlocked when I got 100%. So it has a lot of the extra mode rules of things just being harder because this game hates you. Noted with the 3 health thing means, unfortunately, it's a lot easier to die.
Yeah. And you know, it's probably me taking some intentional deaths to refill my health because I'll probably be on 1 health for quite a bit of the run because that's just how this run is.
How it be.
But yeah.
That's about it, I believe. This, again, is the same game, just a different character, so obviously there's going to be a lot of similarities, but it still is a very different run.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, then, without further ado, I guess whenever Garby is ready to start, we can go ahead and get a countdown, and we'll get this last run of the night under.
Okay, so I think I'm ready to start. So I guess we'll start. So I can do the countdown. So we'll just start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So the move for Meta Knight is actually pretty intricate. Like you'll see me slashing a lot as I'm in the air to keep momentum. That's one main thing that makes you go fast. Well, I'm probably gonna want to get the health that's gonna come up. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if I end up game overing in this run, honestly. Hopefully I won't, but that is a thing that could happen. And there's also an in-game timer, unlike in the other. Typically runs are measured in-game. So hopefully I can get some like a sub 40. I recently got like a 3802 a bit ago. So hopefully I can get probably like a sub 40 or something would be pretty good, I would say.
And that's something to mention with you mentioned the in-game timer is that you don't save in this mode. So in normal mode and extra mode, the game would auto-save after every level. After every level completion or like switch hit. Since the game doesn't track your lives or abilities or health upon resetting or closing the game, it's entirely dependent on clear percentage. But in this mode, there's no saving at all, so
yeah, can't
has to be played in game.
Yeah, and also you can't enter like the bonus games that are in extra mode. I think I mentioned that already, but yeah,
You did mention that.
yeah, I think there's a 100% category for this, but I don't know. There's not as much of a point to doing it other than just for trying to get them.
Yeah, just for trying to get it. It's not tracked separately in the game. This bonus room, I believe you mean the switches do still exist, but not the goal games that you saw in the last 2 runs, which is seems bad because that's a way to get health sometimes and 1-ups in any percent or in base game. But as somebody who, as you might have noticed last run, struggles with goal games somewhat, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it can be nice not to have to worry about doing that. I haven't run the other category that much. I've done 1 run, and I think I prefer doing this. Also, yeah, that jingle that when you're on 1 health, I'm expecting to hear that a lot in this run. So and it's also generally to the first boss in the bed, and this boss isn't really challenging. You just need to keep slashing. And so after you finish one, there's no animation. You just go straight on to the. And okay, those fire blasts can be kind of problematic. it's pretty much random what the enemies will do, and Fire Blast can be really hard to predict.
Yeah, they're one of the worst. I mentioned in my run there are some screens where you can do specific movements to manipulate how enemies move, but in a lot of screens it's either just kind of really annoying to the point of not being worth it to do a manipulation like that, or there is none. So a lot of enemies will just end up being the worst.
Yeah. And yeah, those tornado enemies can also be annoying.
Yeah. I think it's one of the things I mentioned back in my run, as this is one of my least favorite screens in the whole game.
Yeah. So far. But yeah, it doesn't really surprise me when I take a death. And actually, the way you if you don't jump before doing that, like I bunny hop there right right after attacking, before attacking, so that I can skip him from moving a little bit. Like normally he drifts a little bit to the direction he's slashing when you do that, when you slash. So I want to prevent that generally. I'm not sure if that's true for sword power-up or not, but
I don't think so. Because we use sword for a few mini bosses in any percent and 100%, and you usually are able to stay in place. I feel like people would know if sword moved you forward. Usually if you were fighting Bugsy, a boss with a very strong front hitbox.
Yeah,
I think people would tell if you were moving forward. So I don't think that's a thing with Kirby.
And also, interestingly, even though you're Meta Knight, you still have to face these enemies, even though... And you see Meta Knight command them, so they didn't change anything like that in this game. You also fight Meta Knight later, so even though you may expect those bosses to be removed, they're not.
Yeah, that's something that is changed in other games in the series that have a mode like this, is your fights are usually cut out. So you either fight some sort of parallel version or Galactonite. But in this game, you do Meta Knight minion fights, and you also do the Meta Knight fight itself.
Yeah. And so that fight there is honestly pretty tricky. It's really hard to avoid taking damage from that thing that's swinging his thing left and right. So
one thing I noticed is Meta Knight is one of the abilities I mentioned that doesn't insta-kill the Meta Knight.
Yeah.
That's horrible. I don't like that.
Yeah. That's kind of not cool. Yeah. So I'm gonna be probably trying to get quite a few extra lives. I'd like to game over and just game over on my last life and then heading to a tough level. I think in other things you can soft reset to refill the lives, but here you can't really do that.
Yeah, that's a thing I didn't show off because Switch's full heal you and 100% is soft resetting. I mentioned earlier when talking about the save mechanics in Meta Knightmare, which is they don't exist, that the game doesn't keep very good track of your lives and health and stuff. So there's a common strategy in any percent runs where if you want health before a stage, you'll take 2 to 3 seconds to just soft reset the game at the end of a level, and it will let you have full health going into the next level.
Yeah. So we're pretty close now, so I actually don't have to get oh, those crash things have a pretty big hitbox, so I was a little worried I get hit there. So we're heading to
Paint roller.
So ideally I'll do this without getting hit, just by doing this over and over. Yeah, that could have been a little better. That's not too bad. Okay, so level 3. So I don't think this level's too bad. There'll be health coming up, so it's not a huge deal to get hit.
Mhm.
Let's get it here. Like, it seems random as to how far he moves. So, that can happen.
TikTok has multiple patterns that he can do basically however he wants.
Yeah.
Trust me when I say there are finite patterns to that guy, but, like, again, it's one of the things where you just kind of have to hope and pray, and sometimes it doesn't pay off.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, the damage there. It's possible to avoid. You don't have to do some pretty precise movement to avoid that. So, the damage there. Oh, yeah, I figured I would do that later. Yeah, it's kind of hard to. You can avoid getting hit by those, but it's pretty hard to do. Okay. Okay, that works. Let's get one. Well, I would have rather not got there, but it's not the worst thing. At least I have full health for later. So this level, it's similar to the 80% run. You just need to enter a door. This, and there's something halfway on here, but this is one of the short levels in the run. Levels can vary in like how long they are. Here I typically just do an up slash. I don't really like only being on one life. It's possible. It might be pretty likely for me to get a game over this run, but hopefully I'll get it. There are some lives that don't take that long to pick up. Game overs don't cost you too much time, maybe about 10 seconds or so. 10 extra second slots or something. So I'm gonna grab a little. Okay, let's get it. Okay. There. So this is probably one of the easier levels in the run. Like, you can just pretty much use most of it. There will be a life coming up that I'll probably get. Wow, that actually was not the best. Wow, really? I usually don't get hit up there, but that's not really a big deal because there's just health right here.
Bonkers is a great mini boss to deal with.
Yeah. So I will also say that Meta Knight is pretty slippery, so it can be hard to move in the lane too. Like, you can't just move far and get hit. Really? Okay, I just want to get in here. That part wasn't exactly the best, but it worked badly so far. Okay, so there is a life that I kind of like to pick up, but I'm not gonna. But there's only one path you can take for the part I'm referring to. So.
This room is usually you just kind of want to go up, but in a mode with this difficulty, safety is definitely good.
Yeah. This is one of the easier bosses. No, you just got that.
So I believe everybody guessed correctly for their Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright fights today.
Ah, nice. Practice I was getting the other orders, so and I really prefer the other orders just because that's what I tend to guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a good thing that one of you didn't jump there. Okay, yeah. These usually never cooperate. Okay, waiting damage there.
Oh, both of the tornadoes spinning is horrible on that screen.
Yeah. So far, I guess this run's going pretty well with projectiles. I have 3 lives, so hopefully, and there will be more lives later. Like when you get to roll 6, there starts being a lot of extra lives, so I think it'll be okay as long as I can make it there. Probably a pretty good chance of being game over this. Okay, that could have been too bad. Well, that wasn't the best place to do it, but it's not that much time loss. There would have been health coming up, and I would have rather just gotten that instead of thinking that there, but... Yeah, I usually don't have this much trouble with the screen.
This is a screen that you're going through the middle route on it, and I did something much safer in my run. I did what's called top route, which is a little bit slower because the room ends in the middle instead of on the top. The top is much safer because there's not too many enemies up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, your strat is faster, so if you don't struggle too much with middle route, then it's... That's definitely a scary screen in the middle.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you can pretty much just go to the bottom except for a part where these start chasing you. Okay. Okay, this is a pretty good pace. Like, I'm usually here around 15:30 on like my I think I hit a little under 15:30 on my PvP attempts, so this isn't too far behind.
That's cool. This has been a pretty good run so far.
Yeah.
I think I jinxed too much stuff during my own run to jinx you right now, but...
Okay, I would have rather Fawn-chan is that any I think? But yeah, he didn't move there, which I would have rather not happened, but that was still a good fight. At least I didn't get hit any. That, like, it's more scary when in the later parts of the run that fight. It usually cooperates for this level though. I sometimes forget there's another room there. I'm just gonna play this safely. I wish level this is. I think this is level 5. Oh wait, right, this ring can be annoying. What if they have all my health? Like with those flying up there. So that screen isn't quite as scary as it would be otherwise. So, okay, I'll help some more about getting that. Okay. Okay, yes, this is the pattern. Just didn't jump in time. Ideally, I could have all my health for Buckeye. I guess I could give this life, but it takes a little bit too long though, and I don't fully remember how to do it. I wanna just spend more time to get this. Be safe. This fight isn't too hard, but it can go wrong. Yeah.
I, fortunately, in my run, didn't have it go wrong, but if it goes wrong, you can start doing a bunch of moves that you do not want to see.
Yeah. Okay, that was pretty good. So, a pretty hard level's gonna be... Like, there are some parts that are specifically hard with Meta Knight, and those will be coming up some in this world. And here you just need to wait on the second one, then you stop slashing. Like the second parasol enemy. Okay, so 5-2, just basically the door level. There's an extra life that I can get. There will also be bonkers, but generally this level, there's not that much to it. It's really the next level coming up that's going to be pretty hard with Meta Knight specifically, or it's pretty hard normally too, but it's even harder with Meta Knight. Oh wow, no. I may want to take an additional step. Hopefully bonkers will be nice. Yeah, too surprised that happened, honestly. Hope I can just keep all my health here. Look, I saw 3 lives. It's still going pretty well. Like, lifeline. So, yeah, this level, in particular the last room, will be pretty tricky of this. Pretty sure what the way Meta Knight's move works is pretty tricky, so... If I don't have all my health going into the last room, I'm gonna be taking it. Or nah, I guess if I have 2 health, I'll attempt to do it, but because it is possible with 2 health, but it's hard.
I never thought about doing that room without, like, a good hover. Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, okay, good. Okay, that's the trick part of that room. So, I should probably be good. It's still hard even with 3 health, but it's a lot safer.
I mean, that adds up.
Okay, that went pretty well. Okay. Only take, like, just finish that room with that. I think that's good. So, change to this level. It's hard to avoid taking damage in this room specifically. Like, this one, it's not too bad to go, but this one, it's really hard to get to that without taking damage. You can do it, but I've done it once, but it's really hard to do it, and I joints that take a death failure. That was actually well. But yeah. I don't want the very end or anything.
Dying at the end of that arena happened in one of my 100% runs once, and it's not a good feeling.
Yeah. So I'm just doing this strat. This kind of helps preserve momentum, but it's still faster to like go on those platforms. But I'm just kind of taking that a little second. But then like that's generally the safest, best routes. And you can just do this. So far this world's been fairly good. Having some deaths, but haven't been too bad. How did I do that? Okay, 23. I think I'm about 20 seconds behind whatnot ones. So this isn't that bad so far.
That's a pretty good pace in a marathon setting.
Yeah.
I was like 2 minutes off mine.
Oh, well, that didn't really cooperate, but still not too bad a fight. But that can sometimes happen. And there, shot a laser. Okay, so this says 5-6. I guess I'll probably get the maximum tornado here. That. I think that one gets. Luckily this level's pretty short. Okay, so this boss, this is where Knightmare slippery controls can kind of make this pretty tricky. It's to be pretty careful not to get hit by the arms there. Okay, that went pretty well. Didn't take any damage. That's pretty rare for me on that fight, so go for that one. Only 3 lives, or 2 lives. I'm probably going to be getting some extra lives here. There is an extra life I can get. It costs a little time, but I can probably best get it. In the room coming up. Whatever. This one. Okay. Okay, yeah, that. Okay, good. I managed to get that health. Sometimes I'm not moving like the correct way to get it. Also, I was supposed to be at the left and just start that. I think this is starting to just have small freezes. So sorry about that. That's just how my capture card's being right now.
Capture cards are finicky.
Okay, so still 3 lives. I should probably be fine with finishing this. And fortunately, screen froze there, so I had to react to that. Good fight. Bumpers was pretty nice that time, thankfully. Nothing damage there. Okay, these enemies can be pretty mean. Okay. Luckily here there'll be some extra lives I can get, so... I'm doing well on regardless, thankfully. So... I'm feeling pretty good as far as that's concerned. I don't know if this is the fastest path, but it's the path I can take just because I generally want the extra lives. Okay. I'm also fairly certain that the lives don't respawn either, so... I tried, like re-entering a door and they didn't respawn, so I don't think Thing of Death will make them respawn either.
I'm not 100% sure on the respawn stuff in this game works in terms of items. I know finishing a level does respawn items, and soft resetting does, because that resets a lot of stuff, but like exiting a level doesn't. Deaths might. I don't think deaths do.
If like exiting level doesn't respawn them, if that doesn't respawn them, I'd imagine that's like Thing of Death wouldn't either. Like, the main place where I'm concerned about lives is 7-2, which will be coming up in not too long.
7-2 is a very scary stage.
Yeah. But as long as I have, like, 1 life for each boss, I should probably be fine. I sometimes take deaths even at full health in that stage, but I'm usually okay. I don't know if this area is even faster. I think the other area would lead to a switch. I'd really take this route. I'd really like it if I could have full health for Meta Knight, but it doesn't look like that'll happen. Probably if I... Okay, I almost kind of want to think about that. Where are you going to spawn? Okay. Okay, so I'm probably just going to take a death to this so that I'll have full health, because I don't trust myself to beat this on only 1 health.
Is this fight just the plot of Persona 4?
Oh, come on. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely a thing. Glad that went well. I mean, the second half, like, wasn't the best, honestly, but at least I didn't take a death. That won't cost too much. I'm not used to having issues. Fortunately, Meta Knight's controls are a little slippery, so that can happen. So this is... I think this could PB, but I'll have to play pretty well.
You got this.
Oh, well, 7-2 cooperates.
Now that I think about it, actually, because I don't remember exactly, does this category have Knightmare, or does it end on D?
Oh, no, it doesn't have Knightmare. It just ends after defeating D to D.
Okay.
Oh, hey, that's a good start. Now for that's... Yeah, that's what should that be. Oh, wow. Yeah. That... Just okay. I'm gonna try to beat this in this attempt, but thankfully, if you just, it seems like it's not too bad if you just wait on to rush at you. A good pattern. Come on, okay. That was a fairly good 7-2, all things considered. Like, I think only one death, so pretty good.
Yeah, that is really good.
I think 32:59 exiting that is faster than what was in my PB, so I might have a chance.
You got this.
Thanks. So this is kind of hard room for me to do quickly. I tend to just like fly on. I guess that's a pretty good strat for that. I should have to get that next one later. Usually, like that doesn't fly that early. Fly there that early. Yeah, this level is not too bad. You just look most of it. I guess this screen isn't the most kind. There's a lot of stuff on it. Okay, yeah, these rooms. These can be a little tricky. Okay. That one went usually well. The longest death. Don't surprise me too much I had there, honestly. Okay, this one in particular, it's hard to do that one quickly. Yeah, I usually take damage later. You can destroy it before, and that'll help not take damage, but it's hard to do that quickly. Okay, this... I am not a fan of this room. Just because the hitbox on the crash enemies is so large.
Yeah, that happened in my run. I lost my ability in this room because I messed up on a hitbox. Very scary room.
Okay. Yeah, that can definitely happen. That is a pretty tricky room. Just took it safely that time. I usually take death to the aggressive wheel, but didn't that... I'm gonna get this. So 36. Okay, this will have to be pretty good to PB. My PB's a 3802 in-game. It can happen though.
Let's see it.
Yeah. This level actually went fairly well in PB, so... Wow, those are close to me. And also, notably, that Maxim 20 is honestly incredibly hard to get. I remember one PB I like spent 10 seconds trying to get it, and I just couldn't get it because of Meta Knight's hitbox.
Meta Knight has a great hitbox. I think something you told me is, doesn't Meta Knight have a hitbox that makes it harder for him to get into one tile?
Yeah, that's the thing with Meta Knights.
So... I don't know why he's like this, but I guess it is the reward for beating hard mode on 100%.
Yeah. Okay, So I'm gonna. Ideally, I'd be at 3 health, but I'm not gonna take it. I'm just gonna go for being Meta Knight with only 2 health. Well, no, I'm not gonna go for. What is 1 health? Well, actually, yeah, I will, because that's the only way I'll PB at this point. Either way, it'll still be a pretty good time.
This has been a pretty good run.
Oh, and time will be after D is destroyed. Please be kind. Yeah. Well, this will be good. So.
That hitbox looked like it should not have killed you.
Yeah. Wow, that DDD fight. I was 3 seconds away from PB. Oh, yeah.
Nice. That's time, by the way, I think.
Yeah, that was time.
GG.
Thanks. That was a pretty good run. Like, that DVD fight was unusually good. So after I died at DVD, I wasn't expecting to come as close to PB as I did. Probably if I just would have taken an intentional death, that could have PB. But yeah, that was still a good run.
Very good.
Yeah.
GG's Garby. Thanks for that run. Really close to that PB. That was that would have been a pop off.
Yeah.
Well, did you have, before we wrap up for the night, did you have any shoutouts you wanted to make?
Well, I can't really. I guess I'll just say I stream at twitch.tv/Garby the Witcheress, so check that out. And thanks to my commentator, Laurie DeBunikins.
It was a great time.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that'll be it for me. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, Garby and Laurie. Before we do wrap up, I just want to reiterate some of the news I mentioned at the very beginning of the runs. So tomorrow is the Showrunners Showcase at 3 p.m. Eastern. A few of our showrunners are going to be showcasing their speedruns because we do speedruns ourselves. And then Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern is Tree Fort. You definitely don't want to miss that. Monday will be Hollow Knight for Community Spotlight. Next Thursday is The First Step. Hobbs and Keys are racing Cat Quest 2. HDQ is fast approaching. So check out gamesnowquick.com/schedule for that schedule. And then the another thing I mentioned at the top of the runs about the offsite volunteer applications, that is hopefully going to be going live sometime tonight. Doesn't seem like it's up just yet, but check back in the morning if you're interested in submitting an offsite volunteer submission. And then speaking of the schedule, at HDQ 2020, we're wrapping up with Super Metroid Impossible run by Oats and Goats. So we're going to send y'all over to Oats and Goats, who is currently practicing that run. So make sure you guys enjoy that and give him our love.